Start the recording. Let me get you back to your slides, Dr. LaParte. Thank you for the patience.
Worries. So I am an internal medicine and geriatric medicine physician at Kaiser Permanente, and I love doing that work. I love taking care of older people, and I also love being outside. This is a photo of me last summer in the Redwoods National Park out in California. And I'm excited this year. My husband and I are going to go to Acadia National Park in Maine. We've never been there before, so really excited. We always try to take a national parks vacation when we can fit those in the summer times. Next slide. So there's a very long history of the benefits of nature. This is nothing new. People have existed for a very, very small fraction of our entire history and modern surroundings. So for most of the history of human beings, we've spent time living in nature. And so we really have instincts to want to be in a place where we are, where we're comfortable. So we have this kind of inner biological attraction to nature, and we seem to understand how important it is. Psychologically and spiritually speaking, we just know that being in nature can be relaxing, soothing, it can inspire awe in us. Whether you're outside or even just have a little bit of nature that you've brought into your home. And it really offers us this authentic way of healing and health prevention for the mind, body, and spirit. Next slide. So, people who live and interact in green spaces or access to green spaces really report having more energy, being in better health, and having a more meaningful purpose in life. Current scientific findings really bear out what we kind of already know, that nature and being in nature has a lot of benefits for our brain. We have increased happiness, health, well-being, and it's helpful for us cognitively as well. It's good for brain health. Cyrus the Great built lush green gardens in the crowded urban capital of Persia 2,500 years ago to increase human health and promote a sense of calm in the midst of a busy city. And, in New York, we've got Central Park, and here in Denver and along the Front Range, we've got lots of green spaces as well. Of course, we have our mountains in the background. The 16th century Swiss German physician Paracelsus declared the art of healing comes from nature, not from the physician. And so many of our medicines actually are derived from plants. Next slide. So why nature? Having things that are simple, affordable, and enjoyable that also reduce stress, anxiety, and depression symptoms, and make us feel more joy, more relaxed, and increase our sense of well-being and balance in life. Nature kind of has it all. It really has healing and restorative properties that contribute to our overall health and well-being. Next slide. And, we're so fortunate to live in such a beautiful state. This is Rocky Mountain National Park, just up the road from me. I live in Longmont, Colorado, and it's just so nice that we can take day trips up there so easily and really get to enjoy the beauty of our mountains. Next slide. I'm going to talk through a few specific types of nature therapy, and one that I think is really interesting is this concept of forest bathing. So, forest bathing is also known as Shinrin Yoku in Japanese, and it's a traditional meditative practice. What you do is you just kind of walk in a forest at a pace that doesn't wear you out, and you take some pauses along the way to rest, maybe to do a few breathing exercises or some meditation on just enjoying the beauty around you. And this has actually been really well studied in the literature, mostly out of Asia. Next slide, please. So some of the benefits of forest bathing that studies have shown us are it certainly improves our ability to relax. It can also improve immune function, cardiovascular health, just from walking through the forest, respiratory function. It improves mood and reduces depression and anxiety. It improves your sense of well-being, and it promotes that sense of awe, which is really feelings of gratitude and selflessness. And being in nature really, it really provides us with so many of these health benefits. Next slide. So nature therapy as is really designed as something that is universally enjoyed by people, and it really may help to counter some of the modern day stresses that we have, which I love this term techno stress. I feel like anytime those of us that spend a lot of time in front of a computer screen can attest, just stepping outside and walking around the block and just seeing some trees and some flowers can just make you feel so much better about yourself, about the world around you. Next slide. And gardening is a really popular way to be out in nature, and the health benefits of gardening are significant. There was a large meta-analysis, which is a really powerful type of study. And most of these studies came from the United States, but also some in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. And regardless of where you live in the world, gardening has a wide range of positive health outcomes, and that includes reducing depression and anxiety, losing weight, reducing your body mass index, increasing your life satisfaction, improving your overall quality of life, and improving a sense of community. I really like that idea as well. Gardening is something that's a social activity, as well as just being, close to the earth and growing things that are healthy to eat. But the study really shows robust evidence for the positive effects of gardening on health. And I love this quote, a regular dose of gardening can improve public health. I think that's really well stated. And the reason that you may not have heard about this, like in the press, is because we don't seem to hear about a lot of these things that aren't a medication that you can buy. And so it's just one of the things that's available to all of us that everybody should know about. Next slide. So when you can't get outside, maybe it's a downpour and lightning or hailing. Maybe it's wildfire smoke that makes the air unsafe to breathe. Studies do show that having plants inside your home and your workplace also promote health. So bringing that nature into you, growing herbs in a box in your windowsill, if you don't have the space to have a garden, can be really helpful. And there is even some studies that show that just watching nature videos of the forest or ocean can have some positive physiological effects. So bringing nature in however you can is going to be good for your health. Next slide. So this is my husband and I on a hike this is the American Lake Trail up near Aspen. And the things that you need to think about when you're enjoying being outside here in Colorado, especially in the summertime, is making sure that you're paying attention to heat, hydration, and protecting yourself from the sun. And you'll notice we're both wearing, hats. I've got on a long sleeved shirt and pants. We're wearing sunscreen, and we've got plenty of water in the backpack. And next slide. So extreme heat can really be dangerous for anyone, but as we get older, we're at higher risk because of changes that happen biologically to our bodies, because of the accumulation of several age-related chronic diseases, and because of the medications that people are on for those diseases. So you're just more susceptible the older you get to heat. Next slide. So some tips on keeping cool in the summer heat. First, it's always better to try to do your outdoor activities in the cooler mornings and evenings. Make sure that you're taking frequent breaks to cool down and really listen to your body and recognize if you're feeling exhausted. It's definitely time to take a rest. You can always go somewhere with air conditioning in the heat of the day, and staying hydrated, spraying some water on your skin, taking a cool shower when you get in from outdoors can all be helpful. And then just checking in on each other. If you've got a neighbor that doesn't have air conditioning and it's a really warm day, making sure that they're doing okay. Maybe having them over for, a glass of water and some time in air would be a good thing. Uh, Hydration. So hydration is really important, and sometimes it's hard because as we get older, we don't always have a good thirst reflex. So you can't rely on feeling thirsty to remind you to drink. So you should really try to stay well hydrated throughout the day. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. Water, lemonade, herbal iced tea that doesn't have a lot of caffeine, and fruits that are high in water, like watermelon, are all going to be hydrating. The things that you really want to avoid are alcohol. Even coffee and caffeinated tea have some hydrating effects as long as it's not super high in caffeine. And, while I say 6 to 8 glasses for most people, really you should drink so that you're needing to go to the bathroom to urinate often, and your urine ideally should be clear or pale yellow. Next slide. So sun protection is also really important. We sunshine allows our skin to make vitamin D, but as we get older, it doesn't really do that so well, and so it's probably better to get our vitamin D as a vitamin D supplement and really protect our skin from the damage that the sun can do. Again, trying to limit your time during the main heat of the day, kind of those hours between like 10 and 2, will help to lessen the effects of the sun. But when you're outdoors, you should be wearing hat and sunglasses, clothes with sun protection, an SPF sunscreen, at least 30 plus. And this sunscreen 6 teaspoon rule is basically, a teaspoon for each arm that covers your face and neck as well. A teaspoon for your chest, a teaspoon for your back, and a teaspoon for each of your legs is usually a good rule of thumb in terms of coverage. But you just want to make sure that you're protecting your skin from those damaging rays that can cause skin cancers. And that is all that I have. I think I'm going to be turning this over to Chloe for her presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lepard, for that awesome presentation. Obviously, we have some great outdoor resources here, but it's great to hear about kind of the safety side of things for older adults, and then also some of those cooler things that we might not know about that are medically backed as far as getting out in the outdoors and gardening and things like that. So thank you so much. And then if anyone has any questions for Dr. Lepard, if you could please raise your hand or put them in the chat. We'll just give just a couple minutes for that, and I will go ahead and get your slides pulled up, Chloe. So okay, and I'm not seeing any questions in the chat or raised hands right now. So Chloe, once I get you into present mode, you can go ahead and take off. Okay, perfect. And it looks like we actually do have one question. Elizabeth, I am going to just give you the allow to talk function now, so you can go ahead and unmute and ask your question for Dr. Lepard.
Hey, doctor. Uh, my question is, it seems like anywhere that I go anymore, it's so crowded outdoors. Rocky Mountain National Park is, I, 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 I'm so disenchanted. Um, there's just so many of us anymore. It's hard for me to find a place where I can do a walk in the forest and I'm not I don't have 10 hikers behind me or in front of me or
Totally understand.
it's very frustrating.
Yeah, I understand. I think that's where trying to find some of the hidden gems is really important.
Yeah.
That, that photo that I had of Rocky Mountain National Park is I almost hate to tell you which trail it is, but it's the Ypsilon Trail, and it's really not crowded at all. It's a different entrance than the main entrances, and we always get started as soon as it's light enough outside. So we start hiking usually around 5:30 or 6 in the morning. It's also so nice and cool. And by the time we're finishing up and walking back, it's starting to get warm, and we're so thankful we're not just starting out then. And so going at times that are less crowded and then really seeking out those hidden gems. We're so fortunate to have so many places close by, even in our neighborhood. We have like a little lake 3.5 mile path that we can walk around. There's Rabbit Mountain that's almost not ever crowded early in the morning. So I do think that it's worth asking around for places that other people have discovered, and then starting early is my recommendation.
Yeah, I understand. And I'm an early bird, so that will fit right in.
Works
Thanks
out
for the
well.
suggestion.
Yeah. Thanks for the question.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's a great question, Elizabeth. That is obviously something that a lot of us think about just with so many people moving and grooving here in Colorado. One thing I know you're online, Elizabeth, so I would definitely recommend checking out sites like All Trails and other sites like that, where you can
Okay.
find a little bit of information about the places that you're going to hike, like business level and things like that. But great
Great.
question. All right. We're going to go ahead and move to your presentation, Chloe. I'll go ahead and share those slides again. And then as we go through each of the two presentations that we have left, folks, if you have questions, you can totally throw them in the chat or raise your hand. And then if you raise your hand, we'll kind of get to those towards the end of the presentation after Chloe and Noelle have done their presenting. But if you throw it in the chat, maybe we can answer it in real time. So I'll go ahead and get that started. And then, sorry to the folks who are calling in, you will not be able to ask a question, but if you do have those questions, you can totally just kind of keep those noted somewhere. And then if you email us or text us those questions, we can get them answered with the panelists later. All right, Chloe, you are good to go.
Awesome. Thanks, Walker. So hi, my name is Chloe Shalikian. I am the Open Space and Trails Specialist over at the City and County of Broomfield. I'll be talking today a bit about how to get involved in open space. Next slide, please. And so with Broomfield, for folks that have been living in the Metro Denver area for a while, you're probably like, oh yeah, that place with, one exit sign and a grain silo. We've grown up a lot since then. We're a pretty urban trail system. So we have a lot more paved trail versus unpaved trail in our system. And so when I first started working for the city and county of Broomfield, for me, it was an adjustment in how I thought about accessing open space and accessing trails. Because for me, I love to get outside as well. I love to go hiking and backpacking. And for me, it was always, oh, well, it's something I do on the weekends. And it's, like with what Elizabeth was saying, I want to be going out into the mountains by myself, see no one for 10 hours, kind of a thing. And that's not what the Broomfield Trail System is. But what it is accessible. And that's something that I want you all to think about as we go through these slides of what are other ways you can be getting involved in your local open spaces and open lands. And so that's everything from open space, parks, even your backyard. Don't discount the green space you have around you, especially for folks that, like us, that are in more urban areas. And so while we're getting out on trail etiquette is extremely important. We're talking about safety and enjoyment with this one as well. So who has right of way on trail? I like to think of it as who's able to maneuver the fastest. So we have bikers that, a quick little change of their handlebars and they're on a completely different path. Fortunately for folks that are walking, generally we're not that fast. So bikers yield to everyone, including horses. Horses especially, they're a little slower to maneuver. They also are a little more skittish and scared a lot of the time. And so everyone needs to yield to horses. Also, when you're on trail to prevent, especially between hikers and bikers, incidents, We like to make sure folks know you're staying on the right side of the trail except to pass. So especially when we have those more crowded trails, we need to make sure we're passing on either side. Also, this is one while I was researching for our Trail Ambassador program, which I'll touch on a bit later, was one that surprised me is uphill hikers actually have the right of way because it's harder for them to start up again and continue their pace once they've stopped. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but I'll totally pull off on the side of the trail, catch my breath as someone else is coming down. But if you're a power hiker, you're more than welcome to keep trucking up that trail. But with all that, make sure you're still slowing down, enjoying the views, especially in Broomfield. We have a lot of accessibility of our trails, which is awesome. We have a lot of folks that are kind of going out either during their lunch break or after work for a quick little spin. But sometimes we are like, okay, I have my 30 minutes, I need to get out and I need to get back. But while we're doing that, making sure we are respecting other people on trail, treating them the way that they would want to be treated. So not just the golden rule, but what's called the platinum rule is what we're trying to teach while folks are out on trail. So making sure, especially if you're a biker, making sure to signal because I don't know about you, but if I have a biker coming up behind me, I would love to know if they're coming. Sometimes you hear them, other times it's easier to hear at the bell. And so we also have a rule on our trails where we're trying to implement a rule with our trail ambassador program of just one earbud or one listening device. So you're not tuning out the world around you. Again, especially with our trails being a little more crowded or a little more used. Sometimes you don't always hear other people coming up behind you or with dogs behind you and you get spooked and it's a little like jarring of an experience. So again, like both for you and for the other people on trail, making sure to be mindful. Um, Also making sure you're staying on trail. That's not just for being on a more technical surface. That's also to protect you and any pets you have with rattlesnakes or preventing issues with ground nesting birds. We don't want to scare them off at all, especially as you get into more remote areas. Other than that, making sure our wildlife is wild. I was just telling our fellow panelists when I was running into this talk that we don't support feeding of any wildlife. If you have a bird feeder, that's fine. Just making sure you're not having excessive amounts of bird feed out that's attracting other animals and then predators of those animals. But we had an incident where someone was leaving meat out in the open space for a coyote. And so we don't want to be doing things like that because that causes issues not just for the coyote, but also potentially for interactions with people down the line where they start to associate people with food and sometimes may ask nicely and sometimes may not ask as nicely. So we want to prevent that and make sure that both humans and wildlife are able to coexist in these spaces. And for a last thing that's very important with our urban trail system and across the Front Range, we've been hearing of issues with this, is making sure to leave no trace, especially if pets. A lot of folks will say, well, my dog's waste will decompose eventually in the open space. It's natural. To some extent, yes, over time it will decompose, but it's not a natural part of that system. So it adds excess nutrients, and that can cause effects in our ecosystem. And also, can cause issues with disease spreading among our wildlife. And then, not only that, in our wastewater, all of that E. coli gets washed down into our streams, ponds, and then our general wastewater treatment system. So sometimes seems harmless, but not always necessarily so. And so next slide, please. And so with that, like I was saying, we have a trail ambassador program now to teach about what are best practices on trail. We have a variety of other volunteer opportunities that I'll touch on the following slides as well. Next slide, please. So the first one, our Broomfield Trail Ambassador Program, and all of you, even if you're not a Broomfield resident, you're more than welcome to join these programs. We've already had our trainings for the year, but if you are interested, you can go to our Broomfield website or open space website, and there's an interest form you can fill out, letting us know which one you're interested in if you are. Otherwise, our trail ambassadors are there to educate and improve trail safety. They're there at various trailheads throughout the year, about once a month. Um, and they're there to make the trail system more inclusive and hand out giveaways, especially relating this year. Our focus is on dogs on leash and picking up dog waste. So we have leashes available and dog bags as well. Next slide, please. We're going to go through these pretty quick because I know we're starting to get close on time. So Our nature program is an incredible program. It's majority retired teachers that love wildlife and the outdoors. They're trained as naturalists, so they do primarily family programming and preschool programming for younger children. They also have a Friday kids class. This kiddo on the right, Cooper, he's wearing one of the bat masks that they make during that class. It's a very small fee for that program. Otherwise, the programs are free. So if you want something to do with grandkids or other kiddos in your life, feel free to take them to these. They're about weekly in the summers. That information is also available on our website. Next slide, please. We also have a Wildlife Masters program that is specifically for wildlife coexistence. If you have issues where you're finding a bird that keeps pecking on your roof or a squirrel that won't like leave your yard alone and it's taunting your dog, like these are the folks to call. Their response time is about in 24 hours once you leave a message on their hotline, and they'll connect you with resources. Next slide, please. Specifically with all of our coyotes in Broomfield being a suburban area, we also have a specific coyote crew and they focus on coyote coexistence specifically. So we'll generally send them out when we have increased coyote activity on a certain trail and may need to close it. Otherwise, for things like what happened today, of when we have feeding concerns, we'll send them out as well to educate folks because a lot of times it's an education issue where folks are trying to help and they may not know that what they're doing is actually harmful. Next slide, please. This is a newer program we started last year. It's called the GRIT program. It is a teen gardening program at Metzger Farm and Open Space with both Westminster and Broomfield teens. They get to plan, create, and harvest a vegetable, fruit, and flower gardens. They can set things up however they like. And they also have educational lessons on pollinators and Colorado native plants. Next slide, please. We also just do a lot of general one-off events. So if you're not interested in a longer term program or you just want to come out for a day, like for example, like I volunteered with a little help doing a 1 day cleanup program for yards. Similar kind of a thing we do, but for open space. So we have a variety of opportunities there. And you can see all those on that broomfield.volunteerhub.com. If you have any questions getting registered or joining those opportunities, please let me know. Next slide, please. But if you're not in Broomfield or want other ways to get involved that aren't necessarily day-long commitments, there are a lot of citizen science programs, and I'll highlight two right now. One of them is iNaturalist, and it's essentially, we call it like a social media for folks that like the outdoors. And so you can take pictures of plants or animals, or you see a spider in your shower and you're like, I don't know what that is. You can take a picture and upload it, and there's other naturalists in the community that will help you identify it, which is really cool. And so that also helps us as city managers or open space managers to figure out what kind of plants, animals, and things we're seeing because we can't always be everywhere all at once or out in the field all the time as much as we'd like to. Next slide, please. There's also a similar program called eBird, but it's specifically for birding only. So super cool. You can break down the stats by county. If you hear a bird and you're not sure what it is, you can use this site. They also have a great list of all of the birds across whatever county or your local community. So if you have a particular bird you're trying to find, this is the place to do it. It's an incredible community, and we also use resources from these programs to help inform our conservation programs, like we just did a raptor monitoring program. Next slide, please. And so other ways to get involved that aren't necessarily physical outdoors, we have a Broomfield Open Space Foundation. It's a group of volunteers that help fundraise and support events. If that's a way of interest for you, there's tons of other local foundations wherever you are, or general open space conservancies. So I encourage you to take a look at those and get involved there if you want a less physical outlet. Next slide, please. For us as well, Broomfield specifically, we have a lot of other ways to get involved on trail that aren't necessarily always physical. And like Dr. Lepar was saying, you can definitely take a look at different trail videos and get outside even when the weather's not great. Or if you're not sure if it's a trail you'd be comfortable with and you want to kind of try before you buy, we have virtual trail tours on our website, both of some of our longer regional trails and then also of our B100 program, which is a program where there's 15 trail loops all around Broomfield, and we update them yearly with different trails that we're trying to highlight or old favorite trails. Also, with what Walker was saying of different apps for trail maps and find new trails, CoTrex or Colorado Trail Explorer is a great one that's coming up, is created by the state of Colorado and is essentially like a all trails but for free. So you can share trail loops with your friends if you're trying to, find those hidden gems and share those hidden gems with your friends. Or also, it's available offline without any cost. There we go. Okay. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. So we also have yeah, Colorado Trail Explorer is for free, it's through the state of Colorado. It is also unique in that it is supported by land managers. So City and County of Broomfield can show whichever trails are closed and things like that. Um, and have a very up-to-date trail map. We also have a newsletter so to keep folks up to date on general goings-ons or opportunities to get involved. We have a similar speaker series event as well, especially ours is in spring or fall, so kind of on those shoulder seasons when you're maybe not getting outdoors as much. And like Dr. Lepard said, there are a lot of gardening programs, and those are incredible. One of ours that we have is Garden in a Box. There are a couple of those across the Front Range where you can get more native plants into your yard. Next slide, please. And so we'd like to invite you all as a way to get involved. We have something called the Broomfield Trail Adventure. It is in 2 Saturdays from now on National Trails Day. We change the location every year, but it's just a way to get people connected and involved in the outdoors. We have both a biking and a walking loop, and the event will start at about 8 a.m. for the departure for both of those walking/biking loops. And then we do a little prize drawing at the end at about 9 a.m. Next slide, please. And so thank you so much for the opportunity. Again, love what y'all do. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me at the Open Space General email. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And I'll kick it off over to Noel.
Thank you so much, Chloe, for amazing presentation. It's great to know about the resources that are kind of Broomfield specific, but also those ones that our folks around the metro can access, like the birding site and things like that, because I know we do have some birders out there. And then I will go ahead and leave it open for just a few minutes for questions. If you do have a question for Chloe, please raise your hand and we will get you unmuted so you can ask her. And then just while we are waiting for folks to answer or to ask if they have any questions, Chloe, do you have a favorite trail in Broomfield?
There we go. I do. It's called the Lake Link Trail. It actually has some beautiful, stunning mountainside vistas. It's a longer trail, so you can kind of hop on and hop off wherever you like. It's about 11 miles, and it's highlighted in our Broomfield 100 program I was talking about, of all the 15 trails around Broomfield.
Very cool. All right, noted. And then we do have a question. Sally, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to add or to unmute, so you can go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, Chloe, I do everything alone.
Hmm.
Are your trails are they lit, or are there some trails that are better lit than others? Only if I get caught out there and it starts to get dark, or if I want to go out early and it's dark.
Yeah, we don't really have any lighting on our trails. But we have, again, with being a more urban system, a lot of our trails are within sight lines of houses. So from what I've heard also from our police department, our trail system's pretty safe, which is really great to hear. But generally, otherwise, just as general ways to keep yourself safe out on trail, letting folks know when you leave and when you plan to come back. And then a time to let them know of like, hey, if I haven't called you by this point, call someone. Also making sure if you don't have anyone leaving that information in your car, like on a little note, that helps folks a lot. We also have whistles, safety whistles at our front desk for our city and county building free of charge for folks to take with them on trail. So kind of those smaller methods as well are a good opportunity, and staying more to those urban trail systems is what I would recommend.
Great question, Sally. And now, just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and move on. And we have Noelle from the Wash Park Rec Center. So I'm going to go ahead and get your slides pulled up, and then you can take it from there.
Okay, cool. Um, my name is Noelle. Just as stated, I work for Wash Park Recreation Center. I serve as a center coordinator over here. I oversee arts and culture, our fitness programming, and then help support some of our AOA activities, which stands for Active Older Adults. So I'll be using that acronym throughout the presentation. So DPR, we are dedicated to serving the community. All community members. We have tons of programs and activities that meet physical, mental, and social needs. So we're really passionate about being there for the Denver community and also surrounding municipalities as well. Next slide. All right, so we have 3 free memberships that we offer to our active older adults. The first is our My Denver Prime membership, which is very, very popular throughout the city. You have to be 60 years old or older and a Denver resident. So in order to kind of qualify for that membership, you have to come in with proof of ID, showcasing that you are a Denver resident or other documentation like a tax return or car registration, something that has your Denver address and your name as well. So we can get you set up with that. We also have Renew Active memberships, which is through various insurance plans. And when you come in, we will check to see if you're eligible for the Renew Active membership. You don't need to bring any sort of documentation. We just need that photo ID so that we can put your name and birthday into this portal to get the activation code for Renew Active, and then we'll get you that membership. Lastly, we have a Denver Health membership that is only through Medicare Choice and Medicare Select. So if you are a part of either one of those insurance plans, we're able to get you a free membership as well. And with that, we do need you to bring in your medical ID card because we'll need that medical ID from you. And generally those cards are orange. So if you don't have an orange Denver Health card, you're probably not eligible for that membership. But we do have the My Denver Prime that we're able to give people. Next slide. Okay, so we have 30 centers across Denver that all of those memberships would give you access to. We have tons of drop-in classes that you would have free access to as well as our outdoor pools. If for some reason you don't qualify for any of those memberships that I listed, we do have different membership options that come with a cost for individuals that are 65 plus that aren't Denver residents. The membership is about $107 for the year and then $9 for month-to-month membership. So we have all of that pricing information online. And then if you stop by any of the recreation centers, we're able to provide you with that information as well. So this is our Find Your Fit form, which you can find online as well, or you can come to the rec center and we can give you a hard copy of it. But it outlines everything that we have to offer, all of center amenities. It has their address, their contact information. So this is a really valuable piece of documentation that you're able to get at the recreation center. So I would highly suggest picking that up if you are eligible for one of the free memberships so that you can take advantage of everything that we have to offer. Next slide. All right. So, just as mentioned, we have drop-in fitness classes, which are free with the membership that I mentioned before. So, we have like gentle yoga, functional fit, which is really, really possible. That's like a very core-centric activity that we have. Fabulous abs. So we have tons of offerings for physical fitness classes. But then we have clubs as well, like billiards, chess club. There's tons of different options. We have luncheons, but for specifically fitness classes, this is kind of what we have as of currently. Next slide. So, oh, and one back. Okay, so at Wash Park Recreation Center, we offer Tai Chi and we offer functional fit. And those are two very popular classes. On Thursdays, our functional fit is right before our Tai Chi class. So people like to take both of those classes together. It's a really great combination, but throughout the entire city, they offer these classes and you can find that information online or again, come to a rec center and we're happy to help you. Next slide, please. And then, as mentioned, we have clubs as well, but these are the specific ones that are kind of fitness oriented. So really fun. We have belly dancing, line dancing. We have centers that are specifically for AOA community members, and that's Highland Recreation Center, and then Skyland Recreation Center as well. But square dancing, tons of fun stuff. So 50 plus basketball. We don't offer any of those activities at Wash Park, but there's tons across the city. Next slide. Okay, specifically for our outdoor activities, just in case you're interested in getting outside, you don't want to be in a gymnasium. We have trips to Breckenridge, Georgetown, Falcon Park. Sometimes we go to the Rockies. We just had a Rockies visit. But they're kind of hikes and then different explorations. So the explorations, it's more walking around, but you're still getting outside and walking. So it's good physical activity. Next one, slide, please. So these are the trips that we offer at Washington Park, this Manitou Springs and the kayaking. Wash Park, we're very lucky. We're surrounded by two huge lakes. So sometimes we do have kayaking in the lake that's closest to the recreation center. So we're really lucky to have that. We have a beautiful boathouse that we have some of the fitness classes as well. And like the Tai Chi, they really like having in there. So you get to see the lake. It's very, very beautiful. You're surrounded by the entire park. These activities right now, they are full, but I just wanted to show everyone kind of what we have to offer. Our next registration date for any activity throughout the city is on July 7th at 12 p.m. So that's something you can register online, which I have a website at the end of the presentation, or in person at any of the recreation centers. Next slide. Okay, so benefits of our indoor fitness activities. We offer year-round workouts. There we go, with exceptional and certified instructors. There's diverse programming that can allow you to connect with other community members. And then our classes are also offered at all 30 recreation centers. So it's very convenient wherever you live in Denver or surrounding cities if you're close to a recreation center. And everything is pretty much free, like all of our drop-in classes. Next slide. For our outdoor recreation, you get to get outside and see all that Colorado has to offer. The activities are really engaging and challenging sometimes, and that can improve both physical and mental health. And you're able to connect with each other and nature, which is a beautiful benefit of all of our programs. Next slide. Okay, so join us if you'd like. We would love to have you. There's tons of opportunities in the city. You can register for anything online at denvergov.org/recreation, or you can visit one of the recreation centers, or one of the 30. But the drop-in fitness classes, you don't have to register or anything, but those registered classes like the hikes and the different trips, those ones you have to register for, and it does come with a cost, but it's very, very cheap, like $4, $12 at the most. Let's see, next slide. And then I'm open for questions right now. You're also welcome to call Wash Park Recreation Center directly. That's our main line. And then that is our main email address as well, which I oversee. So I'm happy to answer any questions for you if you have them later down the line. And that's all I have. So I'm open for questions right now if you have any.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Noel. And Sally, I saw that you had raised your hand earlier. Do you still have a question? If so, just raise your hand again. We'll get you in. And then if anybody else has a question, some great resources from Denver Parks and Rec, and obviously the Wash Park Rec Center is a great example of one of theirs. All right, Sally, I see you. Let's see, you're good to go.
Okay, there we go. I was going to ask if you could give a link. And right after I raised my hand, you said I'm going to be giving a link at the end of my talk. And so I wrote that down. But I missed what AOA is. What does that stand for?
So that stands for Active Older Adults, and we have tons of
Okay.
programs that I mentioned. And I forgot to mention we have pickleball, which I know is really popular at all of the centers. So that's a huge plug. We have it almost every single day at all of the recreation centers. So active older adults, we have pickleball, all the classes that I mentioned. And yeah, come join us.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Perfect. Thanks, Sally. And then if anybody else has any questions, we'll be on for just a few more minutes, but I just wanted to say thank you all for joining. And on behalf of everybody who joined, we had a great turnout today. I'd like to thank all of you for being here and presenting a lot of amazing information. And I'm so happy that we got so much varied information from different parts of the city, and then also all the cool stuff that you had to say, Dr. Lepard. So if no one else has any other questions, just before we go, I'd like to again thank our partners for Little Talks, Kaiser Permanente, and we're just gonna show our clip from them one more time. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And then I will send out a follow-up email with some resources that were mentioned today in each of these presentations. And then if you have any questions for our presenters that you didn't get to ask today, you can absolutely respond to me. It'll come from my email, walker@alittlehelp.org, and we can get you set up to get those answered. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. And we'll finish off with this.
What makes a Kaiser Permanente Medicare health plan different? Our members and providers say it best.
I chose Kaiser Permanente because the doctors talk to each other.
You get the pharmacy, the clinicians, all the specialists. Everyone's on the same team.
I can see a doctor if an x-ray is needed, get that taken care of, all in the same place.
I appreciate that. I love them for that.
Visit kp.org/here for you to learn more. Kaiser Permanente, for all that is you.
All right. Thanks so much, folks, again for hopping on, and we'll see you on the next little talk. And thank you all.